February started very busy. There are a lot of opportunities. I closed this week 18 trades and I opened 13 new ones. Total, I made 31 trades. I think it was one of the week with highest trade number. As always, I will show each and every trade of the week, what were the closed trades and what are the new open trades and the thought process behind. So before jump into it, so I will quickly update about my numbers. So right now I reached to 95,000 profit in my journey. So as you know, I started this journey in August with a goal of $100,000 in 12 months. I'm right now around 6 months and I already reached out to 95,000, which so far is really going good. Total, I completed in this journey 192 trades, and my win rate out of 192 is 95%. I got 9 losses and I had 183 wins. If I go back a little to the beginning of the journey, which is August, to make some nostalgia. So here, as you can see, my daily trades is like around like profits around like 10, 40, $47 here, 46 here, 86 here. And I usually do one trade per day. And when we go to September, I think I a little bit increased my trade numbers like 2 here, 3 here, and 400 here, 178 profit here. But it was kind of similar with the August, with the first month. But when we come to October, as you can see here, I have a $10,000. I think everything starts going crazy after this moment. I think if I remember correctly, I got a covered call, a sign. I was doing Amazon covered calls. So one of the contracts is a sign, and I got this like $20,000, and I bought 2, 3 leaps contracts for Amazon for the upcoming earning. Amazon price was around like 220, 220, and it jumped after earning to 250 levels. And I got a huge profit. So I got that profit, and that October was like 15,000. And I start using that Amazon profit with other trades. I did here 18,000 in this day, 6,000 here. It was here the Netflix for split. I got some leaps options also that I got profit. And after December, I start trading more leaps, more long calls, more debit calls, still next to my credit calls. So yeah, like August and September started with just credit spreads, and October continued with credit spreads. Then I start adding like cover calls and more like leaps options. So then I increase my leaps and long calls like debit options more and more each month. Like in December, as you can see, I had like 3,000, 2,000, 4,000 here. And January was same, close here, some NVIDIA leaps options, here some S&P global leaps options, and it went 28,000. And February started very strong as well, even though there's a huge red market, I was able to profit $5,000. So let's jump into our trade journal here, and let me show you what was this week's trades. So as you can see here, I closed, let's start with the closed ones. I closed here around like 10, 12, and I closed more 6 diagonal spreads down here. So I will start with the closed ones. Here I close some leaps options, which is my highest profit is coming from. So here, as you can see, like 3,000 profit is coming from these 3 leaps options. So let's quickly check my entry point and exit. So I open these trades on 29 and 30, especially the Palantir ones. So let me show you the chart here. 29 and 30. On these two drop, I enter to the trade. I have some strategy on leaps options. So what is that? And if the stock goes to 100-day moving average, and if the stock goes to below 30 RSI, and if it goes to below 20 stochastic indicator, that's my signal for entry for ellipse. So it's not complex. I'm I'm using this in S&P 500 stocks, and I'm doing my leaps at least 1 to 2 years. As you can see here, 28 expiration January, and both of them actually made a big move here on the 3rd of February. So immediately I got like around like 13%. Since normally my exit strategy on these leaps options is around 20% profit, but literally in 2 days I made 13%, and next 2 days, the February 6th, the earning call was coming. So since I have already 13%, I didn't want to push the 20% profit, so I decided to exit. I don't want to enter earnings with a high profit already in my options contract. So that's why I just exit here, and luckily I exit actually next day after earnings. Palantir stock went down. Actually, on this down, I open another leaps option. I will show you that in a minute after the close trades. That was my entry and exit point in Palantir. And about my strike prices, so I use 130, and it was around 75 delta. That is the spot I like the most, 75 to 80 delta. And as I mentioned, like usually I do 2 years expiration. And I put around $18,000 to these 3 contracts of Palantir. So next one was Apple. Actually, I opened this on beginning of January, and I was able to close it this week on February 3rd. So again, it was a 2 years contract and 75 delta, and Apple was on 7 January. I think it should be here on this red day. Yeah, 7. As you can see here, 7 stochastic was down, and it just started to go down from the RSI 30. If you look at the past, so the last time it went down from 30 RSI, it was April tariff crisis. So that was my signal. As I mentioned, it went down from RSI 30 level, and it went down from 20 stochastic level. I enter on 7th January here, and for a while it continued to going down. So, but since I have 2 years to wait, I was able to just hold and see what is going to happen. And in 1 month, on this day, I exit. It was almost touching like 70 RSI, and it went above the stochastic 80 line here. So I exit there with around 11% in 1 month ROI. So I profit $700, and my initial investment for this one was $6,000. And that was my Apple leaps. If we continue with the other closed trades, I had some covered call, which is assigned in the previous weeks. So I've started doing covered calls. Before that, I was doing cash secured puts, and I got the assignment 235 level for my cash secured put. So right now I'm doing 250 strike covered calls. So but Amazon went down so much after the earning. Here my covered call is literally 100% profit. I think it didn't expire. It was still like 2 more weeks to expire, but I was able to close it for $8. So I profit $500 from that cover call. And I had, in January also we had many red days. So 16, 20, 21, 20, 16. I was opening all day credit spreads for the names I really like: MasterCard, Apple, Palantir, JP Morgan, Amazon. So I was able to close all of them again this week. So let's see quickly them. MasterCard, January 13. January 13 should be here. Yeah, exactly in this big red bar here. RSI went down to 37 levels. So anything below 40, it is starting to getting into my watch list. MasterCard is one of the most stable stock in the market, together with Visa, Microsoft, Google. So I really like when I see these kind of big drops, I want to take the opportunity. So I enter here, it continue going down, but my credit spreads is also long term. So this one was around 3 months. I usually do at least 45 days, but usually like 2 months, 45 days, sometimes 3 months. Depends on the credit I'm receiving, because sometimes 45 days is giving only very very little premium. So that's why I'm going a little higher. And also, as I mentioned, market is really unstable these days. Most of the stocks is going down, so I don't want to make it 45 days even. So I choose to do 3 months, but I think in 1 month, yeah, I open it on 13, and on 2nd of February, in 15 days, I was able to close with 50% profit. So I opened my open price is 1.4 and 0.74. I exit with $193, 12% monthly ROI. And my strike prices, let me tell you about those: 5, 10, and 505. So stock was around 550, and my strike price was around 510 and 505. So it was way below down. So while trading for 540, it requires more 6% drop, which already dropped here a lot. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I'm usually choosing strike prices in put credit spreads around 15 to 10 delta even, sometimes like maximum 20 delta, because like I don't want to be in risk. Even 80% is a lot of risk. I mean 20% is a lot of risk, so I want to choose that 15 to 10% area, which I did in MasterCard. In Apple, again on 16 January, on this one here, I think. Yeah, here, right here, it was still trading around like 30 RSI and 20 stochastic. So I want to open also some credit spreads next to my leaps. So again, those were, this one was like 2 months, 60 days in the future. So my strike price is around 230, 235. 230 was here, 230 to 35, right below 200-day moving average. And I was able to close it. Again, my open price was 0.8 and probably 50% automatic profit taker triggered at 0.4. I was able to profit 120 with a 8% monthly ROI. It's not even a month, I think in 2 weeks. So I had 3 contracts. Why 3 contracts? Because the premium, which is the maximum profit I can get from credit spreads, was $80. And my aim is around at least $100 profit. So if I do just one contract and exit at 0.4, which is 50%, I would get $40 profit. So since I want to have at least $100, so I increase my contract number instead of like lowering my premium and increasing the risk. So I increase my contract number, and of course my maximum loss became 1,500 because it's a $5 wide spread. And with three contracts, if the stock price close below my strike prices by the end of the expiration, I would lose $1,500 in this credit spread. But since I have the trust in Apple, and I'm choosing 2 months in the future credit spread, and it went already down for the first time since April below RSI 20. I had huge belief in the trade, so that's why I went three contracts, increased my maximum loss by keeping the delta still around 10 to 15. So, but yeah, at the end, in 2 weeks, I was able to make 8% ROI with that one. And I think I opened two on 20. It continued going more down here even. So still like even it went to 18 RSI levels. And I just lower my strike prices, I guess. Oh no, I think I keep it even same. And this time premium was higher since stock went down, and I was able to collect around 11% with two contracts. So again, Palantir 21 entry, and in about 10 days exit on 3rd of February. Let's check quickly. 21 was here. Yeah, 21 was here. It was touching the lower Bollinger Band, and it was around like 35 RSI, and it was going down from stochastic. Again, it's a very classic credit spreads opening for me. It is going down from 20 stochastic, and it is going down from the Bollinger Band. As you know, Bollinger Bands represent like 90% chance the stock will trade in these bands. So I just trust that statistic and I enter my credit spreads here. It went down. So it was here on 21 and 20. I opened two credit spreads with different strike prices, and I was able to exit on 3rd of February, which on this jump here on this one. Even though my entry prices is around the same level, since there was like high volatility here and it was right after the earnings, so I was able to exit with a profit. So my profit was around like 10% again. And again, my 50% profit taker triggered. I have opened them 1.04 and I exit 0.52. And my strike price is around 135, 130. 135, 130 level is around here. By the time, if I waited this long, I would be in danger in these levels. But when I opened them here, 166, 135 was very safe. And I'm lucky to have this jump here. And so I exit here with 10% profit. Again, I had another credit spread. I think on 13, it continue going down MasterCard. So yeah, like I mentioned, it continued going down, but I was able to wait for this jump. So I think I opened here one credit spread and here another credit spread in MasterCard. So that's why I'm not going to give more details on that. Lastly, JP Morgan, another credit spreads open on 20 January and close on 3rd. So let's quickly check that one. 20 January should be on this red day here. And again, RSI went down to 35 level and stochastic went down to 10, 11. So again, it went down from 100-day moving average. So that was my enter signal. And I opened two contracts at 0.93 premium. And on 0.46, I was able to exit with 9% profit in around 10 days. I think, yeah, around 14 days. And I was able to profit $83. And my strike price is around 275 and 270. It was in here in these levels around again like 10 to 15 delta. And when the stock made this movement, and even though it went down a little bit more after 20, I was able to exit on this move. So that was my close credit spreads and leaps options. So I opened more leaps options and credit spreads. So let's quickly scan those new credit spreads. So Amazon on 6. Yeah, on Friday, Amazon went down here after the earning. So I opened the credit spreads there for 2 months in the future, and my strike price is 180. 180 is right around here. It's so much down, like it was that level. It was in when it's April. So again, on Friday, the RSI touched to 30, 20 line. So that's where I open it. S&P Global on 5th. S&P Global here on 5th. Thursday, it made this huge red bar and RSI went to around 20 and stochastic was around like 13. So I really like S&P Global. In the past, in this drop here, I trade some leaps options and I was able to make a nice profit. So on this jump, I exit, I think. Right now, it went again here. Right now, I don't have much capital to enter the leaps contracts for S&P Global. If I had, I would. But right now, I have like Microsoft, Palantir, Amazon leaps options. But so I want to take some opportunity with credit spreads. So again, Microsoft 5th, I enter a trade. So Microsoft these days is having big red days. So I don't know when it's going to cover, but I choose 2.5 months in the future for my credit spread. And again, my premium is little low because I went 10 to 15% delta, which is 360. So let's see 360. 360 is around these levels. So it was around like April levels 360. As I mentioned, I have a huge trust on Microsoft stock. So in 2.5 months, it should rebound. This RSI levels is historically so low for Microsoft. Whenever it touched to 20 RSI levels, it always jump back. So let's see. I bought like 3 contracts. My maximum loss from Microsoft is 1,500. So if it's not going up soon, I will consider it the beginning of April. My usual strategy is about taking the loss. So if it's like still 3 weeks to expiration date and the stock is not bouncing back, so I'm just taking the loss or rolling. But Usually my exit days from credit spreads is average like 2 weeks. So I'm not going that far. So until now, I close credit spreads with a loss, I think 3 times or 4 times out of over 100 credit spreads. So we'll see how this Microsoft goes in the following two months until the beginning of April. But that's my strategy. I will wait until three weeks mark. Again, another Palantir. I mentioned Palantir went down so much, and I was able to have some leaps. And since the drop continues, I open more credit spreads. And I have also Tesla credit spreads, and Tesla went down on 5th of February here. It touched to the stochastic indicator here to 20 level, and it went to 35 RSI level, and I open here my credit spreads, and yeah, here, and with 2.5 months in the future, and my premium was 104, and I opened 3 contracts. So as I mentioned, I opened some more leaps options. It was one Uber, Palantir, and Amazon. Talk about Palantir. So on 4th, I opened a new contract here on Wednesday in this big red bar. It was still trading below 30 RSI and 20 stochastic. So I open another. So in this jump, as you can remember, I take profit from my leaps, and on this 5th, when went down so much, so I open another one for again 3 years. I mean 2 years in the future, my leaps contract. And for Uber, I open my Uber leaps contract on 3rd, again with 28 expiration. I opened 6 contracts. I paid around $15,000 debit. So on 3rd of November, it was this one. It went down from the indicators, as I mentioned again, and I opened here on this day, but it went more down here. I'm right now around like maybe like $2,000 loss right now with this one, and probably in Palantir as well. It went a little more down here. But as I mentioned, my strategy is long term. I'm comfortable to hold these stocks in long term. My recommendation for you while opening leaps contracts, try to pick those things for the stocks that you would be comfortable to hold them for months. So for example, the S&P Global one, like I was red in 3 months at least until it's recover, and I finally exit after 3 months. So Amazon was again on the Friday, it went like 12% down from the current price after the earning. So I opened my leaps contracts there. And this time I made like 1 year because Amazon is one of the stocks I trade most. So that's why I have more comfortable with that to opening 1 year leaps contract instead of two. So I open 2 contracts. If it continues going down on next week, I might open another two. So I purchased 2 contracts approximately around $9,000 to $10,000. And that was my leaps and credit spreads. So here I had some diagonal spreads this week. I open a lot and I close a lot as well. So as you know, Palantir is keep going down and down. And what I did, I opened a covered call here. So Actually, it's a kind of a poor man's covered call because in this diagonal spread, I open a long call with like 6 months in the future. So I'm selling short calls by using my long call. So with 1 month expiration. So first I started on 28, then I closed in 2 days because it went down. So I was able to close in a 50% profit again. I was able to make 123 profit. So I opened another one on 3rd and it made a sharp drop in 1 day and I was able to take another $100 profit and I immediately open another one and that one next day also went down. So 3rd to 5th Palantir, let me show you the move. So here 3rd I open here my covered call and on 4th it went so much down. In this down my covered call went already a huge profit and I opened the same day another one and on 5th I was able to close that one as well with $100 profit. So and I open another one here on 5th. So right now that one is open and my long call is open. So if Palantir goes down, I will keep selling my short calls and generate some more profit from that down. So that is one of the ways I use these huge down days or months to generate some profit. I'm selling short call options. So in case the downside or sideways continues, I'm making sure I will make some money while I'm waiting my leaps contracts or credit spreads to bring me some profits in 2 months and or 5 months, 6 months from leaps contracts. I'm making sure downside movement also brings me some profit with these short calls. I'm doing same thing with Robinhood. So I open a June long call for Robinhood. So since then, Robinhood is going downside a lot. Let me show you the Robinhood graphic. So as you can see here on each drop is around like 3%, 4%, 5%. And I was able to close my short calls every day. Like here, I close one on 2nd of February. I open immediately another one. In diagonal spreads, my strategy is opening the short calls around 20 delta. So as soon as they reach out around 10 delta, what I'm doing, I'm buying back with profit around like 50% from comparing my open price. And I'm opening another one on 20 delta. Back then, 20 delta was 110. And that one also in 2 days got the profit above 50% mark. And I close that one, immediately open another one, and that one also next day with a big sharp drop, and I roll it to 90 strike this time, another 20 delta short call. So right now that one is open. So I will see, I will try to collect again as much as profit on the downside of the Robinhood. So right now I have one open, very similar to Palantir. So same thing happening with Netflix. So I have some long calls here for April and some options from December for Netflix. So I'm keep selling short calls against my long options in Netflix. So my long call is getting close actually in April. So my investment in this long call is around $2,000 with 2 contracts. So we have 2 more months. If it stays around these levels, so my loss will be 2000. So, but by the time in 2 months, if the stock price doesn't go up, goes sidelines, I will keep selling every week 2, 3, 20 delta short calls. So 20 delta short calls means like stock price needs to go up 5 to 6% in order to cross my strike price. So if that happens, my long call will increase in value. So I might sell it or exit it, but if that's not happening, I will probably be able to generate around $2,000 probably by the time in April 17. So I will try to cover my losses from this long call. So that is my strategy here. I will keep selling 20 delta short calls against my long April call, and I will see how it goes. In one point, if it's make a jump, I will probably close my short call with a loss, but that jump will bring more profit for me from my long call because it's around 60, 50 delta right now. So let's see how it goes. Again, very similar to Hood and Palantir. And I have lastly TLT. I'm also doing similar thing here. I just closed this week one trade, one short call, and I roll it to 88.5 from 89.5. So I was able to make this 50% exit here, $80 profit, and same day I open another 20 delta short call. So in this fourth diagonal spreads, so I will keep opening my short calls if the stock didn't bounce back. So I'm also thinking if Uber continues going down, if Microsoft continues going down, which I opened the Leaps contracts last week, also Palantir, I will open more short calls while waiting my Leaps options to go up. I just want to generate more income while waiting those. So that is my strategy for the upcoming weeks. Hope you enjoyed the video and let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the trades. If you have any comments, feel free to drop them in my video, and see you next week's update video.